Most Americans think two incomes should make life easier, but for a lot of couples, it quietly does the opposite. The second paycheck doesn't just add income, it unlocks a new level of expenses, taxes, and pressure that single earners never face. And over time, it can leave you more financially trapped, not less. If you want to understand why this happens and how to avoid it, hit like and subscribe. Two incomes feels like progress. That is the belief most Americans carry into adulthood. You graduate, you get your first real job, and life finally starts moving forward. Then you meet someone doing the same thing. Two careers, two paychecks, one shared life. On paper, everything should get easier from here. And at first, it does. There is more money coming in, more breathing room, more confidence when you check your bank account. The idea is simple. If one income can cover life, two incomes should create freedom. But that is not what usually happens. Because the moment income goes up, something else follows it. Expenses. Not all at once. Not in a dramatic way. It happens quietly, in decisions that feel reasonable. You move into a better apartment because you can afford it now. You upgrade your car because the payment fits your new budget. Insurance goes up. Groceries get a little nicer. Eating out becomes normal instead of occasional. None of these choices feel reckless. They feel earned. And that is where the first crack appears. The cost of living does not stay fixed when income doubles. It expands to match it. Sometimes it even outpaces it. What used to feel like extra money becomes the new baseline. Then comes the expense that changes everything. Childcare. In the United States, the average cost of childcare now exceeds $15,000 per year for one child. In many cities, it is higher, and it is not optional. If both people are working, someone has to take care of the child, so one entire salary starts to disappear into that single line item. And suddenly, the second income does not feel like extra anymore. It feels required just to keep the system running. Then taxes add another layer most people do not expect. When two incomes combine, more of that money can be pushed into higher tax brackets. You are not just earning more, you are exposing more of your income to higher rates. The system does not treat that second paycheck as a bonus. It treats it as additional taxable weight. So now you have higher expenses and higher taxes, both expanding at the same time. And this is the moment where something feels off. You are earning more than you ever have. You did everything right. You followed the path exactly the way it was supposed to work. So why does it feel like there is less room to breathe? Because the extra income did not create freedom. It created a higher cost of living that now depends on it. Kai did everything right. Stable job, decent salary, nothing extreme, just a normal path. When the second income entered the picture, it felt like a turning point. This was supposed to be the moment where things finally opened up. At first, it looked exactly like that. They moved into a better place. Not luxury, just more space. Better location, something that felt like an upgrade. Then came the second car. It made sense. Two jobs, two schedules, more convenience. Insurance went up, but it was manageable. Groceries improved. Eating out became part of the weekly routine. Nothing about it felt irresponsible. It felt like progress. This was the upgrade phase. The problem is that upgrades do not stay flexible for long. Very quickly, those decisions turned into fixed commitments. Rent or mortgage locked in every month, car payments that could not be skipped, insurance premiums that kept showing up. If childcare entered the picture, that added another massive, unavoidable cost. And now, something had quietly changed. Both incomes were no longer building extra space. They were holding the system together. This was the lock-in phase. Kai was no longer working to get ahead. Kai was working to maintain everything that had been built. And once you reach that point, the pressure starts to show up. One income is no longer optional. If one person stops working, even temporarily, the entire structure starts to break. Bills do not pause. Payments do not adjust. The system keeps demanding the same amount every month. So, flexibility disappears. Job dissatisfaction becomes harder to act on. Burnout becomes something you push through instead of solving. Taking a break is no longer a decision. It is a risk. And this is where the real trap reveals itself. The second income did not just increase earnings. It removed optionality. Now layer in how the American system reinforces this. Health insurance is often tied directly to employment. Losing a job does not just mean losing income. It can mean losing coverage. That alone keeps both people locked into their roles. Childcare costs remain high and inflexible, forcing both incomes to stay active just to justify the expense. Housing, insurance, and debt create a baseline that cannot easily be reduced without major disruption. Everything is connected, and all of it depends on both incomes, continuing without interruption. And then comes the moment that does not make sense at first. Kai looks at the numbers. More income than ever before. Higher combined earnings than at any point in life. But savings are not growing the way they expected. Net worth is moving, but slowly. Cash flow feels tighter than it should. There is always something that needs to be covered. And the question starts forming, quietly but persistently. I am making more money, so why does it feel like I have less control? Because the issue was never just about how much was coming in. It was about everything that was built around it. Two incomes are not a wealth strategy. They are a risk structure if they are not controlled. That is the part most people never stop to question. More income feels like progress, so the assumption is that it must be the path forward. But income alone does not build wealth. It only increases potential. What actually determines the outcome is something much simpler. What you are required to pay every single month. Because wealth is not about how much you earn. It is about how much of your life is already claimed before you even start. And this is where the shift happens. The second income should not be treated as something your life depends on. It should be treated as leverage, something that creates options, not removes them. What went wrong for Kai was not the decision to earn more. It was what happened next. That second income was absorbed into fixed expenses, into housing, cars, insurance, childcare, and everything else that quietly became permanent. Instead of creating flexibility, it created obligation. So the system tightened. The alternative is not extreme. It is structural. You design your life in a way where it does not collapse if one income disappears. Not by cutting everything down to the minimum, but by refusing to let both incomes get locked into non-negotiable costs. Part of that means directing surplus into places that do not increase your monthly burden. Accounts like a Roth IRA or a 401k grow without raising your cost of living. They build future stability instead of present pressure. Another part is liquidity. Having accessible savings changes your relationship with work. It gives you space to make decisions without immediate fear. And most importantly, it means being careful about what becomes fixed. Because once a cost becomes permanent, it starts demanding your time and energy every month. Kai begins to see this clearly. The upgrades slow down. Some expenses are reduced. Others are avoided entirely. Space starts to return, not because income increased again, but because dependence decreased. And something shifts. The same income that once felt tight now starts creating actual progress. Savings grow. Pressure drops. Decisions feel less forced. Nothing dramatic changed on the surface. But underneath, everything is different. The real danger was never earning too little. It was building a life that required too much.